land here is what he's calling this development.
Yeah,
on
and there's a
the
north and a
agenda.
south, so I don't mean to interrupt you, but what does that mean, north and south? What I have
It
south
was just to
plans.
identify from the standpoint, the township is seeing plans on two different properties.
Okay,
North would be what was originally Seoka Village. So
okay,
the township noticed Seoka Village, the engineer, to just keep it straight, is calling that north, and then south would be the west side of
which
73.
is,
At the end of the day, it comes down to one,
okay,
but just in an effort to, because when it comes into the conversation with township consultants, it's like, well, which is Seoka, they said, it's way entire north.
okay,
But it
And
means
that's, and
not.
that's the part that's up on Pine Bottom, off of Pine Bottom.
okay, fine, that's where,
Yeah.
yeah, I only have for what's appropriate for me, and that's the
Right,
stuff
right.
you take from my property.
So at this point, what I would suggest is monitor our website agendas.
We're pretty good about that.
Okay, and if you haven't gotten the alert, get the alert. So typically what happens is we have to post the agendas at least 24 hours in advance. And we click a thing that says, send an alert immediately
fine.
to anybody who is signed up. And that way, you'll get the agenda, or an alert that the agenda's been posted, and then check what's on the agenda.
But how will I get, documentation, things like that, that I wanna review? Not that I'm not trusting anybody
No,
here,
right,
it's just that I wanna be able to see what the plans might be, and I'd like to review that stuff without necessarily being in this environment. I'd like to be able to do it in my house, you know what I'm saying? And I you know, that's what one of my biggest fears is just not knowing or understanding what's happening
Absolutely, I
around.
understand.
And I
Well,
like
at
to
this
think,
point, you're always welcome to come to the office and ask to take a look at the latest file. And typically what we do is we bring it over and set someone up over
Okay.
here, and you can sit and look
okay,
through.
I was hoping it would be something like, look, how do I get my name on the list, and I'd like to be informed, and just send me the information whenever we're coming, that's fine, if it means coming here, I'm okay with that. I think that's all I have. Thank you very much, thank you.
Read, the planning commission, they just published when the dates are for all meetings.
Yeah,
You can assume
I
it's
didn't think that the
on
planning
every
commission,
commission
I didn't think they were open to the public.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why we advertise.
Absolutely,
That's why
right.
We were, for some reason, we were both under the impression that the planning
No.
meetings were not open.
No,
We
those
didn't come.
are
Okay,
where things get flushed out, so I strongly encourage you always to come to the planning commission meetings.
okay.
And the board of supervisors too. It's the
Yeah,
first time
yeah.
this room's been full.
I mean, you have to forgive my ignorance there, honestly, this is
No,
just not
no,
something that
these are all public
We
meetings.
want people to know. The other thing is you read the minutes. After the meetings are minutes, if you can't attend the meeting.
Yeah, we've
read
got
the
some.
minutes.
Just like, I mean, the minutes are always a month behind, we can't post them until they're approved, so they're always a month behind.
I mean, obviously, this is a big thing for everybody on that road.
It's a big thing for the whole township.
I mean, there's people in there for a very long time, there's hundreds of concerns that everybody has, and I think they're all legitimate, and they probably all should be heard. But, you know, obviously, that's not gonna happen here in this environment.
There's gonna be so many meetings that this is all gonna go.
Well, I think that's what at least for me, that's, the biggest thing is knowing that I can get the information and knowing that, you know, when I get it, I get the most recent things and the stuff that's, you know, reality and where we are. My biggest concern frankly is the time. Obviously, you know,
The township also doesn't control the water and the sewer, so perhaps we can make that available to you somehow. If you understand residents want to know that stuff, so when those tests are done, let's get them on the website, make them available to people. And if they do testing, that would seem to me to be logical, and they would test you well ahead of time to know before and
I
after.
think that's all the stuff that, you know.
When I attend the planning commission meeting, and that would go for any township, but I've been here a couple times, for this project, not for other projects. When I come in, there's usually a large board that everybody can see, and I bring 11 by 17s that I can pass out to people that need them. So I'll be able to give it to you, and pretty soon it'll be like every month coming in, there'll be something to talk about, and it's always an update of anything we've done. So when we get into, like I said, right now, we're starting on a fracture study to determine where the wells belong, and then you come in and dig, just get a little detail here, you dig a 6-inch well to figure out where the water is, it ultimately becomes a permanent well, which is a different well, whatever else. So I would give updates to the planning commission. So there you get your updates. Obviously, the township will be able to give answers to you officially, but I'll be able to tell you what I know.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
So we're gonna put the results on the website, just to be clear, that's what we were gonna do, Mr. Ken, you said?
Yeah, any of the results that we
Right,
get will be, put
okay.
out, you know. on the
Okay,
website.
I just wanna make sure I heard it right, that's it.
But don't be a stranger, don't be afraid to come in the township and ask for things either, if you want.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I just figured in the name of transparency, I think it is best to put it on the internet for everybody to see it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and be able to understand. I agree with them, you know, not everybody has time to work all day, come into the meeting. I totally agree with what he said there.
Is everybody satisfied with that?
Yeah.
Is that-
Sure.
I answered the legal questions, really, that policy and procedure, that's.
No, I heard you say it, so I just wanna make sure I understood you correctly, that's all. I understand there to,
Could,
me too.
and should.
That was the
Yes, I
recommendation.
Oh, okay. Well, is that what you were thinking too, Ron? I'm sorry, Ken, I didn't mean to do that to you.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
it needs to be put up.
okay, perfect.
Should I assume you'll take this under advisement and think about it, and we'll probably in a future meeting or resolution? Or do you have feedback today? I'm fine with the future.
Do you want to comment on this?
I mean, I'll comment.
I read it. Two comments.
Okay.
I think the township needs to think about it, I don't think they're too crazy about it. That's number one. And number two is, your attorney in his letter says, you know, we agreed to 280, and I've been pretty emphatic that.
Yeah, I would that was inappropriate the way you phrased that.
I'll
No,
go right back to Ed and tell him.
Yeah,
you know,
no, that's fine, that's fair enough.
I don't,
That's why I started by saying somewhere in the 270s, 280s, whatever, there was never a hard number that was agreed to.
but I don't even know that it's that, you know, like
Okay.
we're doing studies
Yeah,
about
I
wetlands
think, yeah, I
and
think
other
at this
things.
point,
It
we
could
were
be
sort
that
of
it's
waiting
not
for
that
the
bad.
natural resource studies, because I
Wanna
think
be-
you were gonna do the wetland delineation, so
We
we could.
will be submitting something next week with all those delineations for review, and then at that point, we can pick this back up again. With the density number. Once you have because we'll have all the resource studies completed with what we submit for you to review.
So my suggestion to the board would be authorize me to write back to Mr. Mullins, suggesting to him that we got his letter, we considered it, and at the present time, there doesn't appear to be interest in pursuing that. We're not closing the door to it, but, you know, we're not eager with that. Is that a fair representation?
Yeah.
Okay. And then secondly, that, you know, he took a liberty in his letter to say that we would previously agree to about 280. And I don't know how many will fit there. I mean, when there's, you say wetlands and woodlands and water, you know, other. Stream bank. Ordinance and all, yeah, it's conceivable that it'll, hopefully this won't have nothing before, but more likely.
The township planner had come out with a recommendation for the number, that's what we were basing it off of, but obviously that's just one consultant. We understand the township is not generally agreed with
Okay.
Well, his number was 274 though.
it. Yeah, 274, 276, you're correct. There was different people had different opinions in there, that's correct.
I wasn't aware of that.
That-
I don't know.
There was a planning
Right, so
commission meeting.
Yeah, that
they were
was-
there.
Just take so many acres, divide by whatever, you're gonna come up with a
No,
number.
no.
No, this was a different, this was factoring all the,
Yeah.
correct,
Okay.
and the township never had a plan, this would be the consultants and the planning commission, identifying with certainty all of the constrained lands. We now have that, it happens to match, because everything was done 20 or 15 years ago, nothing in the end of it has really changed. We've had consultants go back out again, verify all that, so that now is confirmed with our consultant, wetlands, et cetera, signing off on that. We'll run through the math, and there was discussion, which will, with the planning commission, work with them to come up with a hard number to come back to you, for the supervisors with, based off of that, after all the reviews are done.
I was just gonna chime in about the clarification about the 280, because of the way it was worded in the letter. I think that's a great idea if you're gonna pen a letter, that we, you know, kind of something in writing back to.
Right. I don't want that
I
out there,
agree.
that we ever agreed to any number.
No, I know, I'm kidding.
The name of the
Am I
company,
authorized to send the letter?
building the house.
Okay.
We don't know yet, I'm a developer, I get all the approvals to build, and then, there's been different builders that have expressed
I'm
interest.
just
but
curious if there's a website that you have.
I only develop ground, I don't build anything.
What's the name of your company, Mr. Hendricks?
Hendricks Group Developers.
Do you have a website?
The way it works for me, frankly, I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'll be in Richland Township next week, and it's Richland Township PC is the name of that company. Each job is an individual company. It's not like you buy from, some brand name, Toll Brothers or something. It's just each job is an individual company. So I'm not trying to hide anything. I give my cell phone number, email, I'm not hiding from anybody. Be happy to talk to you. I've been.
No, I found you on a
It's
couple
been
different township websites and things like that, and you're formerly THP though, correct? That was you and your brother
I
did
started
that?
THP 30 years ago, I've been out of there for 15. yeah.
And this was part of your property back in the day? That's what I wanted to ask. I just wanna make sure I had the same.
My brother owns THP, that's correct.
I thought your brother worked for H&K.
He does not. That is Select Properties, play heckler.
Before we do, I just need to clarify something. As supervisors, we do not have the ability to deny somebody from developing their property. They have property rights, correct? We want to explain that because there's some folks who might not understand.
You can vote against it.
We can't do that.
Right, somebody hollered out, just deny the plan. Well, that's not really the way it works. In this country, people own land and they have legal rights and they're protected just like your legal rights are. The township has a zoning map. Every parcel in the township is zoned for a certain thing. This property happens to be zoned for higher density, medium and high density development, to put apartments there by right. To his credit, he's come before the township with a plan, saying this is what I could do, this is what I'd like to do, I think this is better for the township. It's certainly advantageous to him, there's no hiding that, but we can't deny, the rules are what they are. You can put a certain number of units in them. If you're gonna be that dense, they have to have water and sewer, and the other rules provided by DEP and other state agencies dictate how that goes about happening.
But there's a process to the
There's
whole
a
thing.
process
It
to the
isn't
whole
like
thing.
you can just say, yes, I'm gonna do it. He has to go through the process to make all the.
Right, develop the land development plan, begins through the planning commission.
That's the 2 years or more.
Mr. Ken, how does that actually get to be zoned for the apartments?
The zoning ordinance itself speaks to it. Probably a long time ago, it was established that this part of the township will be higher density, this will be lower, this is agricultural.
So we can't change
this is
that?
Commercial.
That's
Well,
just how it is written in law like
Can I
that?
just interject? So the zoning map's on the back there. Several, if you look at that brightly colored corridor, that's along 73, right? So every municipality has to sort of provide for their fair share of higher density development.
Correct.
Right, so as part of the regional planning commission, the township chose to concentrate the higher density development that we're required to provide along the main road to protect the rest of the township, to keep it rural.
Well, I'm not sure that his whole property is completely in one set of zoning.
That's
I'm not
right.
back on
It is
one positive.
different
It's
zones.
not.
You're absolutely
My
correct.
zoning is different than
That's
what's
right.
down the
You're absolutely
street.
correct.
Absolutely, yes.
So each one is
Yes.
looked at individually, it's not looked at as an entirety.
Yeah.
So here's a high density, you can do apartments, here's an area where you can do single family homes, that is absolutely correct.
And so that's why, there are a few locations where that higher density, potentially apartments could be permitted.
So
I'm
Kim,
sorry, Tom Ditzler, I live at 3101 Big Road, right on the corner of Turkey and Bill. Has there been a decision made about the farmland there that they were looking to put like a car?
We have not received the next.
Okay, because I know there's trying to be
step.
rezoned, I was just wondering if you
Well,
had made a decision.
It wasn't rezoned, I think they needed
Well, he was
a
applying for a
variance.
rezone,
Yeah,
right.
right, so I think he received his variance, but he would still have to go through the land development process.
Okay,
and
I was just wondering if there's any
Yeah, and we
problem.
have not received any applications yet for
Okay.
the next phase.
All right. And my concern, I have two small children, and again, you were talking about, having a well there. I mean, this guy wants to put in a paint thing where it's gonna strip cars, and I know I'm not trying to get into all that with you, but, my concern is some of my, neighbors are voicing this. I don't think, we don't feel like our voices are being heard by you guys. I know that I feel like that. I know my neighbors I talk to, we feel like we're not being heard.
Well, we haven't received the official application yet, so.
Okay, but
so I
I'm
would
just
work-
saying,
yeah.
I'm just telling you guys,
Yep,
you guys speak for us, and I'm telling you, from the neighbors I speak to and from the people that I hear here, I would take our voice a little more seriously, because I feel like we're just being shut down a lot.
But I'd like to hear from, this is the first time
I mean,
I
you
mean,
said
I
don't
there
even
was
know you, man.
questionable with the timeline, we want our voices heard
Yeah,
for who is representing us we're constituents, we're taxpayers,
Yeah.
we care. We want to collaborate with you, we want you to want to collaborate with us.
Absolutely.
And we want that representation up there from all sides, non-biased.
Well, yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, you come to the meetings, you're aware something's happening over there, pay attention to the planning commission, that's on the website.
And we have, they
All the
said
township
till the
and-
27th, and they're going to hear our letters, they said they would hear, they
I mean, I've
hope
heard this
to.
before, but yeah.
Right, they hope to, that was where I was coming from. Would they listen to us if we put our voice out there? And you said, I hope we would.
So, I work here, I'm not a decision maker, right?
Ron, will you listen to our voices when we put our letters out?
I'm looking
Will the
forward to it.
weight
I am
of the
looking forward
letters,
to your
will
letter.
the weight of the letters make a difference?
I don't even know who's gonna show up.
I know,
You're right.
I don't know who's gonna write either. Yes or no, will the letters make a
Yes.
difference?
Why wouldn't they?
Thank you. That's our question. That was my voice topic.
Okay.
Just one more comment on that. You say that the landowner has the right to develop his land
In
as he
accordance
wishes.
with the
With
rules.
the, as
Not
long as
he
he's within
wishes,
guidelines.
In accordance with the
But-
zoning ordinance.
Why do we, as residents of the township, have to incur the costs of the new streets, the schools, and everything that's gonna affect? We have to pay for it. What does he have to pay for it? He's making the money.
And the fire department, and the police.
All that stuff that we didn't want is gonna be coming now because one person wants to develop his land. So put financial stuff on him, so he has to pay for it, because I don't want to.
If we had the ability to stop him from building, we probably would.
You don't have to stop him, tax him, make it expensive for him. Put obstacles in his way.
What the township has required so far on this, and the conversation we've had, which nothing is approved, is that all roads would be private roads. So there'd be no roads that belong to the township.
They gotta get in there
Yeah.
on 73 and all the roads around, it,
Colonial
just like New
Road.
Hanover's in
They're gonna
town.
pay taxes like you pay taxes.
Colonial Road was just repaved.
Yeah, how
And if my, if
It'll
my
get
well,
rebuilt,
if my
right.
well goes dry and I gotta hook to your water system, they're gonna have to dig it out.
There's all kinds of
Who's gonna pay for
expenses
that?
that are coming with your
Me?
bill that's gonna affect us.
Who maintained them, Mr. Hendricks, after you leave? This township?
Homeowners Association.
The HOA?
They're gonna have their own fire department?
Our own police department,
Okay, that comes on our expense when we have a 2-bay firehouse with 2 trucks. So how the hell are we gonna do 300 more houses? Just a question.
You're gonna pay tax just like you pay tax.
Yeah, but you're making ours go through the roof when you leave here. So
You're not gonna
I'm
be
sure
here
whenever I go to call your phone
The
number with my
expenses
tax
hit us.
bill, it's not gonna go
You're
through.
not gonna be here, you're not gonna live there. You're gonna move on and destroy another place.
Right.
Just like you have in the past.
Hey Bob,
Bill.
Bill, sorry about that. My question, I keep referring back to Gibraltar Rock, it's got another name. It's the same thing, nobody, and I think somebody here said they were fighting that. But they have more rights than we have rights. You would think that you say, we don't want it. I don't want to be stepping, but it doesn't, the rules and all are made for.
It doesn't matter, money
I
talks.
live right here on 73. I gotta wait and either zip out in front of somebody because of all coming down from New Hanover, Gilbertsville, Boyertown.
You notice that wait's gotten a lot longer now because of New Hanover?
We'll just add
Just wait till this
And
develops.
then when I pull out, I get the flashing lights and, you know, the finger waves and.
I just put in a well on it.
274 is too many.
All right.
Too many.
Diet? I like your diet.
Well, that would,
Establish fire marshal annual salary.
one group, just one.
Just to reiterate.
Quiet, please.
So, anyway, this is to, just establish the fire marshal's annual salary, motion to establish. So I'm making a motion to establish the fire marshal's annual salary at $4,000 to be paid monthly. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Bid authorization for
$4,000 a month.
Sweets Ford Road for stormwater improvements.
Per year, I'm sorry.
I was good.
Oh.
We need somebody new.
Paid monthly, it's annually afforded.
Annually 4,000, you're paid monthly.
We're all about that.
Originally, you said yes, and then you changed it to the
We
other.
got it now.
All right,
It's
we're
for
good.
the year.
All right, bid authorization for Faust and Swayford Road, stormwater improvements and repaving the road. We make a motion to authorize staff to go out to bid for the construction projects on Faust and Swayford Road. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Sean, can I just ask you what that is? And the only reason I ask is, as you know, I live here, so I just want to know what it was that we were talking about doing.
Yeah, so, Faust is from, kind of south of Little Road, where it goes down to Scioto Creek, to the creek crossing.
On the other side of,
Yeah,
Little.
so-
On the other side of the creek.
The other
Is that what
side
you're
of
telling me,
The
Ron?
other
It's on the other side of the
Little
creek?
Road, it's on the other side of, so we've got,
So we're not gonna come all the way up by me and Steve up towards, what is that, Southbridge Station up there?
no, we're not doing that section yet. So what's happening is we're having problems with stormwater, eroding the edge of the road there.
It's undermining the road.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
undermining the road, so we're gonna have the stormwater redone, repiped, and
Totally
then we'll
understand.
repave that section.
Oh, yes, ma'am, I agree. I did address it with Steve, last year and the year before. So it comes in off of where the fire was the first time, not the second time. It runs right in there, and my septic system's right there. Now, it's, as far as I know, it's not damaging anything, but you can see where it puddles all around it. And Steve did tell me, he goes, we're gonna address this. That's why I was asking, is that what this is, or was it something else? That's why I was asking. So is that gonna be the following year, we thinking, or we're not?
We're not sure yet.
Not down the road that far
So
yet.
this section of Faust Road was actually supposed to be last year, but when we got the bids, they were so much higher
Sure.
than we had budgeted, we had to postpone it.
Sure.
So we're hoping things will come down a bit, and we've kind of reworked the design to try to hopefully bring the cost down.
Okay.
So as far as the other section, I'm not sure off the top of my head when that's.
Okay. Just curious.
Price of oil's gone up since then.
Just check with Steve.
Can't win, you know?
Trace, just check with Steve with that.
Yeah.
Because I do know that it used to have that gully, like out back Sean's house where they cut that gully in going down that side of the road back there.
Yeah.
It used to have that on our side of the road as well, but it completely wished it away, that's all gone. And the road was supposed to be tilted, you'll see there's like drainage over there for that, like, you know, where the grates are, where they
Yeah,
go
there's a
in.
big, I think 4x4
Right.
box.
Problem is, it tips into my yard instead of going that way. I showed him after that big rain we had, you can see where all the debris just rested right there. I have an old, I guess, well there from like the 20s or 30s or something like that, and I just pump that back out into the yard, because it fills it up in no time flat. Yeah, I'd like that
Can you
addressed.
just give us a time frame on it?
Please, thanks.
Old business, none. Announcements, the township offices will be closed Monday, January 16th, 2023. Upcoming meetings, Parks and Recreation will be January 17th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Planning Commission will be January 26th, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Assuming we have agenda items for the planning commission. If not, we will
Will be on the
cancel.
website for us to know.
Correct, it'll be either canceled or the agenda will be posted at least 24 hours in advance.